What's up, guys? Flash Frame here, coming at you today with a little bit of a FlashShock podcast. A few things that I wanted to kind of get off my chest and just kind of talk about in general. One of the first things that I wanted to discuss was I've seen the comments that a lot of you guys have been leaving on my videos, and there's been a lot of discussion about kind of how I seem distracted in a lot of videos, how I kind of slow my speech down a lot, or am addressing things on my computer as I'm doing one of these videos. When it comes to the slowness of my speech, a lot of times I do suffer from attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and it's easy for my mind to wander a bit, so sometimes I'll tarry off on a tangent and have to draw myself back in. Also, on a couple of videos, these have been situations where I've been quite tired, coming at things from very early, or rather very late in the day, early morning. I tend to stay up overnight, so there's that. Anyways, there will be, well, I'm going to move actually directly into that. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the situation regarding Asherons Call that I did in a couple of videos ago. And I got a lot of kind of hateful, I wouldn't say hateful, just rude comments on that video. And I just wanted to say, you know, I've kind of looked around the net a little bit. There's not many people championing the cause for the Asherons Call players to get what's owed to them. I reached out, as of that video, I reached out to Jim Sterling, I reached out to Total Biscuit, I reached out to Sid Alpha. I reached out to multiple people who have a little bit more, have a lot more say. Let's actually be realistic. Have a lot more say than I do in these things. They have a lot more pull, and I got no responses from anybody. So far as I know, I'm really one of the only YouTubers that's discussed the Asherons Call situation. So, you know what? Hey, I put my video out, guys. It has like 900 views, so people have viewed my video. And yeah, maybe it could have been shorter, maybe it could have been sweeter. This was another situation where I was recording that early in the morning. I'd had a lot of stuff on my plate that day, and was just tired, but I wanted to try to raise some awareness about this, because Asherons Call is a near and dear game to my heart. It was the first MMO I ever played. And I feel for you guys. I want to be able to get into these private servers and play a game that I played years ago that I still have some passion for. So it was a little shocking to see the Asherons Call, those of you in the Asherons Call community that came after me and were basically like, oh, this video could have been shorter, and this video, you know, you look like you're browsing porn, which, yo, I'm not going to do that on fucking camera, guys. I mean, really. You know, just, it was kind of shocking that here I was trying to help you guys get awareness, and instead I was attacked. So, you know, I kind of feel that maybe it's time for Asherons Call to die. You know, I hope that's not the case, but if the people leaving comments on that video are the same caliber of people that I would be playing with in that game, yeah, I think maybe it's time that community dies. So, come at me. Anyways, the next thing I wanted to talk about, also a gaming topic, is Loot boxes. Loot boxes in video games, are they gambling? I think that the answer is not exactly clear. I do believe that loot boxes are a gambling mechanic. They hit off that same, ooh, what's in the box? What's in the, will I win? It feeds off that same, the same neurons firing in your brain to make you want to pay more. Now, I play PUBG, I play MechWarrior Online, both of which are games with a loot box mechanic. In the instance of PUBG, you are given items that you can then sell on the Steam Marketplace for real-world currency. Granted, that currency isn't coming to you, but it's coming to your Steam wallet, so you can then buy additional products on Steam. In the case of MechWarrior, that's not how that works. MechWarriors is you can randomly get rewarded a crate, and you have to either buy the premium currency or win the premium currency in order to buy the keys to unlock the crates. Now, in both cases, real money is involved, or arguably real money can be involved. So I think that's where the trouble lies with loot boxes, especially in games that are rated T for teen. If you're rated E to T, between E for everyone and T for teen, if you're rated between those, you shouldn't have loot boxes. And you shouldn't have loot boxes because that is a mechanic that we have agreed can be harmful to children and those underage. There's a reason why there's a limited ceiling on when you can gamble, right? So I wanted to kind of point out that if you have loot boxes in an M for mature game, fine. I am 100% fine with loot boxes being in an M for mature game. I am not fine with loot boxes providing an advantage to players in said game, especially if real-world currency is involved, but that's another argument. So let's put that argument to the side. Let's just look at loot boxes themselves. Loot boxes themselves are not necessarily a bad thing and can add to the enjoyment of the game. However, you need the following things for loot boxes to be a fair, agreeable mechanic. They cannot offer power. They should always detail out the rarities and ratio of likelihood of getting rares. These are things that, as an example, card game booster packs do. I'll use Yu-Gi-Oh! As an example. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know that you are guaranteed at least 2 rares in a pack of varying rarities, one of which could potentially be the secret rare, and in a box of Yu-Gi-Oh! Boosters, you know you will get, at minimum, 2 secret rares in a box, at least in the modern game. From that, you can extrapolate with the information of how many cards are in the set. You can extrapolate approximately how many packs you need to buy to get the cards that you need or want, on average. This is something that loot boxes need to do as well. Now, loot boxes don't currently doing that and are also easily manipulated by the developers. This is why there is a current problem with loot boxes and why there is a look into them as gambling. The fact that you can fact that there's nothing telling you the odds. There's nothing telling you the likelihood of getting your rares. Feeds off of that gambling mechanic, that gambling chemistry in your brain, as it were. And yeah, I think that this is something that does need to be discussed and self-regulated, if not governmentally regulated. If I was the ESRB right now, I would just dictate right now, loot boxes cannot be in any game that is rated under mature. Simple as that. That gets a majority of the issues just out of the way. That also gets rid of loot boxes and EA's predatory systems out of sports games, which the people playing sports games are not the same as those of us that are gaming, that are playing the bigger, like, first-person shooters and stuff, which is what emboldened EA to try to pull this marketing into mainstream gaming. So, I mean, get it out of the FIFAs, get it out of all the fucking sports games, so that the sports games players aren't spending this money making EA and other companies think it's okay to do this to everybody else. So, Razorfist did a video on this. I don't entirely agree with Razorfist's take on it. Of course, Jim and Sid Alpha and everybody has done videos on this. I think that loot boxes are akin to gambling, and yes, I believe that they should be regulated in some way, be it self-regulated or governmentally. I would prefer self-regulation in this instance because I really kind of want the government away from my video games. But, you know, the ESRB and PEGI are run by the game corporations anyway, so I don't know. Alright, on to the next topic. Star Wars Discovery. Star Wars Discovery has been out for a little while now. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek. I've watched all, I started watching with Next Generation, and watched Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, went back and watched the original series, grew up on the movies. I love Star Trek. I'm not a huge fan of Discovery. Now, that's not saying that Discovery doesn't have good things about it. I find it an enjoyable enough show. The problems that I have with Discovery are, if you had told me that Discovery was a Kelvin timeline, which is the J.J. Abrams Star Trek stuff, if you had told me that Discovery was a Kelvin timeline show, I would have been 100% okay with that. I would have been like, okay, cool. Well, Kelvin Timeline's getting a show. Fuck it, I'll watch it. Sure, why not? That's not what happened. CBS billed this show as a prime timeline show, and it does not at all feel like a prime timeline show. It feels off. It does not feel like it takes place in the mainline timeline at all. A lot of the characters aren't that likable. The show is still growing on me. As I watch more, I do find myself enjoying the show and wanting to watch more, but I also find myself going, this doesn't feel like prime Trek. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on Star Trek and Discovery and like where that's at right now. Could be better. It really could be a lot better. It's really kind of a mess right now. But I mean, I'm glad that it's I'm glad in a way that it's doing well, because it means Trek isn't dead. I'm sad that it's doing well in that this isn't the Star Trek that I was looking for. And I've heard good things about the Orville, which I need to watch the Orville. I haven't had a chance to yet. So maybe that'll be the Trek that I'm looking for. Maybe it will be, but I don't think that it will be. Discovery certainly isn't it. So maybe Orville is what I'm looking for more. Especially considering I've heard that they take it seriously, which I'm all for that. So anyway, the final little bit of news, I am going to start streaming more. I'm going to be doing PUBG. I will possibly be doing some Star Citizen, and various other games, probably Arma and Squad, things of that nature. And again, I do not monetize my content. I don't even currently have a Patreon. Now that may change, but as of right now, all of my content is done because I want to do my content and I want to get out to viewers and talk about these subjects. So yeah, quick note on the Alex Maurer stuff. I am keeping my ear to the ground on that. That doesn't necessarily mean that anything's really coming out of it. But I am keeping my ear to the ground. As soon as I know more, I'll let you know. I do know that Leonard, they're in the discovery phase, and she has expressed interest of possibly settling out of court, but that could be something entirely different. That could just be her talking on Twitter. It's really hard to tell. Her Twitter's a mess, so... anyways, thanks for checking me out, guys. There is going to be a video coming out on my YouTube for Yu-Gi-Oh! Soon, and you know, you guys can go check that out if Yu-Gi-Oh! Interests you at all. If not, well, thanks for checking out this FlashShock podcast, and I will see you in the next video or in a stream. Take it easy, guys. Later.